This is Jam It, an awesome release from Cytronic and Throwback Games for the good old Commodore 64. As usual, they went all out with some pretty attractive packaging for this cassette version, although you can also get it on disc, or you can get it as a digital download for an emulator, or if you have a flash device for your Commodore. As you might have guessed, it's a basketball game, but it's actually a 2-on-2 game a la NBA Jam, although it's half-court like 1-on-1. And 1-on-1 is previously the high watermark, in my opinion, for basketball on 8-bit home computers. But as you'll see through the course of this review, they are two entirely different beasts. Okay, so let's fire it up and see what it's all about. So it starts up with some pretty cute music, and I'm going to choose Hopeless for the computer difficulty because last time I got my butt handed to me, but I think I've gotten quite a bit better since last time, so you're going to see me clobber the computer here. You might be noticing that the game supports 4 players, and you need a special adapter for that, which I don't have, so I haven't tried that mode, but I have tried 2-on-2. You can also set it so that you control whoever has the ball, or you can set it so that the computer controls one player, you control the other. That mode is quite a bit easier because what you can do is, if you're not confident in your skills, you can just pass it to the computer more often. And speaking of control, the game really gives you a lot of control. You can pass to the other player, you can slam dunk, you can go for jump shots, you can reach in, you can block, you can do all kinds of stuff. And it does it all with one button on a standard joystick. You might be thinking, well, this is pretty cluttered. How intuitive is that? Well, they actually pulled off quite well. So, passing, if you're in possession of the ball, you double tap the button and you pass. Holding down the button and releasing, jumps up and then, throws the ball towards the net. If you're near the net, you can go for a slam dunk and you just release the button when you're above the net and you will dunk it in. If you're on the defense, hitting the button if you're close reaches in, and otherwise you jump to block a shot if someone's going up to shoot. It's all really intuitive and works quite well. And it has to because the game is so fast. I mean, it moves as fast as NBA Jam or something. And that's quite remarkable for a 1 MHz 8-bit system like the Commodore 64. I mean, it's lots of fast action with tight controls, and it runs at 60 frames a second with no slowdown. That's pretty cool. Especially if you've just come off a session of 1-on-1, which, as much as I like that game, it is pretty sludgy. But one area where I think 1-on-1 has the advantage is in the physics. The physics in Jam It aren't quite as good as in 1-on-1, by which I mean it's a little bit harder to tell where the ball is going to go, and I describe the physics in this one as being a bit arcadier than in 1-on-1. Another really big difference between this and 1-on-1 is that this is a 2-on-2 game, so the strategy is more about how you play as a team, where on 1-on-1 it's more about how you act as that character. You face the opponent with your back and you spin to do a shot. There's none of that really in Jam It. It's a bit different. Like I said, it's a bit more like NBA Jam, and it's the closest thing to that on your Commodore 64. One other thing that lends a bit of strategy to this game is that each player has an energy bar, and that's on the right hand side of the screen. What that means is that they can get fatigued. So when your players get tired, they'll pass slower, they'll make fewer baskets, they're just less effective overall, and during halftime you can tap the button really, really fast to gain energy back. But ideally what you want to do is when you're playing, you don't want to always be going all out, guns blazing. You want to give your players some rest. So, if you think that you don't need to move, don't move. Don't always be jumping around, running around the court. Graphically and everything, the game is pretty good, though I really wish they had had an option for some in-game tunes. Even something simple like the music in Arc Rivals, you know, if you don't remember that, that's just a bass line and a drum beat. That would be cool enough, you know. It's kind of a strangely silent game, by which I mean that the sound effects that are there are pretty sparse. One of my favorite touches in this game is the announcer at the bottom of the screen when a basket's made. There must be a huge variety of phrases because I hardly ever see them repeat. See, watch this at the bottom of the screen. Send it in, big fella. I don't know what that means. And I love the slow-mo if you make a shot within the last second or two. Awesome. And that's game. Then you get a award ceremony, which is pretty cute. I love the 8-bit style in this. It's so charming. I mean, to me, this is kind of what 8-bit gaming is all about. Chunky, cute, low-color sprites, and awesome gameplay.